Hey everybody. Uh, Sorry for the long delay. I know I haven't uploaded a supervillain video in a while. I'll get back to doing those in a little bit. But today I thought I'd talk about something else. This is kind of another My Thoughts video. I just got through watching the Turtles Forever movie, and boy, what a movie. But first, I figure I should talk about like my past experience with the Ninja Turtles franchise. Now, I didn't grow up watching the 80s cartoons. I actually grew up reading the 80s comics. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Ninja Turtles were originally a comic book in the 80s produced by two guys named Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. Now, the comic book was nothing at all like the 80s cartoon. It was extremely gritty, it was very profane, it had a lot of adult themes in it. It was violent, it was gory, and the turtles were really over aggressive and just and they were sort of like the Christian Bale Batman where all they did was just fuck dudes up and eviscerate people rather than actually talk with one another. And on top of that, they made a whole bunch of different comic book and pop culture references. The comics were awesome, but um, from what I've seen of the '80s cartoon show, a lot of people grew up with the '80s cartoon show and they love it, and that's sort of why they really like to rag on the 2003 series, which is actually a lot closer to the original comic books. That's sort of the biggest misconception about the Ninja Turtles, is that everybody believes that the Ninja Turtles were originally created from the 80s cartoon series, but in truth, the 80s cartoon series was just completely loosely based off of the comic books, which were much darker and more gritty. Now, having said that, I actually prefer the 2003 series over the 80s series, which makes me sound like a heretic, but you have to remember, I grew up on the 80s comics, not the original cartoon. I have seen a couple episodes with the original cartoon, and to be honest, it's not really my cup of tea. And that's why I love the newer series. It's not that I hate the 80s cartoon. I love going back and watching it, sort of the same way I love going back and watching the old 60s Batman TV show. The 80s cartoon isn't really my ideal version of the Ninja Turtles, but I still like watching it. It's still entertaining to watch. But I do prefer the 2003 cartoon because it stays a lot more true to the comics, and the Turtles are much more complex and fleshed out characters. Right, now that I've wasted about 3 minutes talking about my original Turtles experience, let me start actually talking about the movie. The movie takes place in the universe of the 2003 cartoon, and it basically starts out with the 2003 Turtles meeting up with the Turtles from the original 80s cartoon, in which the two universes actually collide for the first time. And the way that happens is that in the original 80s universe, Shredder basically uses the Technodrome to open up a dimensional rift to the 2003 universe. So, Shredder and Krang, the Shredder from the 80s universe, they bring back the Shredder from the 2003 universe who's stuck in the body of a little brain-like alien that actually looks like Krang. Eventually, the new Shredder returns to normal, while the old Shredder and Krang are basically act as just really crappy, evil supporting characters for the new Shredder, who assumes the role as the main antagonist of the film. Eventually, the new Shredder tries to destroy the Ninja Turtles forever by destroying all the different multiverses that the Turtles live in, and actually, he decides to destroy the very first universe in which the Turtles originated in, which, I love this, he actually goes back to the universe of the original 80s comic books. And I love that. That's what makes this movie so awesome, is that there are so many incredible references to Ninja Turtles culture. This whole film is like a love letter to the entire Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise. And let me tell you something. If you are a Ninja Turtles fan and you have not seen this movie, you should be ashamed of yourself. This is an amazing movie for Turtle fans like myself. If you're a fan of the old 80s cartoon, you will love this movie. If you're a fan of the comic books, you'll love this movie. If you're a fan of the newer series, then you will love this movie. Simply put, this is not a movie that anybody should miss. If you haven't seen this movie, it's even watchable on YouTube, so go see it now, please. And also, I've pretty much already spoiled enough of this movie's plot, so I'm not going to say what happens. I will say that the ending kicks ass. I love the ending to this movie. I love how they break the fourth wall every chance they get. I even love how during a battle scene later on in the movie, you actually see Tokka and Rahzar from the second live-action Ninja Turtles movie. It's a very short appearance, and you really have to pay attention to catch sight of them, but when you do, boy, it's exciting as hell. This is simply a fantastic movie. Please watch this if you haven't already. Right. My next, I plan on finishing my Masters of Evil marathon. I've got about, sorry about that, I got cut off there. I got about 6 more Masters of Evil characters that I'm going to be talking about, so be sure to stay tuned for more. Oh, and by the way, seriously, take my advice. If you haven't seen this movie, then see it. Like, just quit watching this video and go see it. Hell, it's even posted on YouTube. You don't even have to get the DVD. Just see it.